welcome to chapel as we begin another week here at Concordia. Many thanks this morning to Megan Orcholski for her message today. She's getting her coffee and tea ready right now. And many thanks to the Department of Women's Studies for their leadership and their hospitality for today. With that, I invite you to stand, and we begin with our greeting. May God, who spoke light into creation, who calls us to listen and follow, who sends us to shine like stars, be with you.
A reading from Mark, first chapter, 21 through 28. They went to Capernaum, and when the Sabbath came, he entered the synagogue and taught. They were astounded at his teaching, for he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes. Just then there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." But Jesus rebuked him, saying, "Be silent and come out of him." And the unclean spirit, convulsing him and crying with a loud voice, came out of him. They were all amazed, and they kept on asking one another, "What is this? A new teaching with authority. He commands even the unclean spirits, and they obey him." At once his fame began to spread throughout the surrounding regions of Galilee. Word of God, word of life. Thanks be to God.
Gets their own theme music. You know where I'm going.
Well, you have to dance down the aisle.
I was trying to find my phone. I think it's back there. I'll just like hum. You want me to hum a bar? I had my song all picked out. It was, oh, you got the best of my love. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? I was like, we were setting up the technicalities, so I think my phone got lost in the mess. It's totally fine. We're gonna roll with it. Everybody keeps saying to me, "We're so happy you're here." And I'm like, thanks. I'm so happy I'm here. I'm so happy you'll talk in front of us. Really? That seems easy. I would love to talk in front of you. Especially about my favorite thing. And I affectionately call this no apology living. I titled the talk, Sorry, I'm Not Sorry. And the reason that I title it Sorry, Not Sorry is because I coach a speech team, and so I often hear similar things like this, like, no regrets. Sorry, not sorry. Oh, brown hair, don't care. That's a good one. I can't see this, so I'm gonna do a little like that. Brown hair, don't care. Have you heard that one? And then it usually comes with a flip. Brown hair, don't care. Sorry, not sorry. And YOLO. You only live once. This summer at the cabin I went to, I saw this, oh, Ellie, you're awesome, thank you. I saw this huge sign that was a drug and alcohol-free sign, but it said YOLO in really big letters, and I thought that was awesome. And my version of this, my preferred version of this is no apologies. And if you ask any speech kid who has ever worked with me, they will tell you that I say this all the time. Sometimes quickly and quietly so that no one will notice, right? When someone sneezes, and then they go, sorry. I go, no apologies. Sometimes yelling from my office, right? Like, I'm sorry I did it, no apologies, right? Just depends on the mood. And for me, this started very young. Aren't I cute? And I was raised in southern Wisconsin as a Methodist. I like this one. I think it looks like Michael Jackson ate a hedgehog. Can you see it? Can you see it? And, I was raised with a lot of apologies. When you stole your sister's doll, which I did, you have to say, I'm sorry. And for me, where I started to really find my place, so the place that I didn't have to apologize as much or didn't mess up as much, if you will, because I was always losing my shoes. Sorry, Mom. Like, how did you get home without your shoes? I don't know, I'm sorry. So I was really energized, right? So it'd be like, my grandma would always say, Megan, calm it down to a roar. Sorry, Grandma. So for me, where I really started to feel it was theater and being on stage. This is on a cruise. I got to play Glinda for like 4 seconds. It was pretty awesome. And in high school, I auditioned for all the plays I could and really found in performing, so not just in theater, but this is me in show choir. To my prom, I wore duct tape. I made that myself. We had a larger, it was junior prom, so I was a senior, so we didn't really care, so we made duct tape. And our picture in the paper was larger than the King and Queen's. Hair flip, right? And then this started to bleed over. This is me in New York, and the first time I went to New York, I was 18. I was my face pressed against the taxi, oh my God, that building is made out of triangles, And so I really found this place of performance. I went to college, and I started performing in college. This is a night show that we did that this brilliant woman named Betsy Grace Mathieson directed my first year, and I happened to get in it. And I think some of these photos, I have never looked more awesome. And that's me, that's real hair, that's awesome. And then I met this woman. She came my sophomore year, and her name is Karen Silkitis. And she began to teach what she calls no apology acting. When I started giving this talk a few years ago, I called her up and I said, where's your theory on this? And she was like, what? I was like, where's the books? Where's the stuff? We didn't write anything down. It was theater. It was undergrad. We just felt a lot. And we moved through space. I spent 4 years moving through space, and that benefited me a lot. So she was like, I just call it no apology acting. I was like, what? You don't even have a tangible thing on this? She was like, no, I just teach it. And the basic concept is that, we're freshmen and sophomores, we get up on stage, and we'd have all of these apologies in our bodies. We'd be doing the lines, and she'd be like, stop apologizing, no apologies. And then she'd make us all act like monkeys. And if she could, when we'd start apologetic, and then if she could get us all, no, really, be a monkey, right? If she could get us all to be a monkey, no apologies, then she'd say, that's it, no apologies. So the idea is that you're making choices on stage, and there is no right or wrong. And so how could you apologize? Because you can't be wrong. And so if you do a choice and it doesn't feel justified, you do it again. And that's how I was trained in theater. So I was Jessie in Night Mother, for those of you that understand why that's funny. Yeah, talk to me later if you don't. And I played these really beautiful roles. This was also directed by Betsy Grace Mathieson, and this was my junior year, and it was just a really fantastic, fantastic show. And then this started to bleed over into my life again. This is me in London, and I had chopped all of my hair off. And my roommate, who was from Louisville, who was arguably one of the worst people I've ever met. If you know me, you know I don't say that very often. She was just pretty terrible. So I had cut my hair off before I donated to Locks of Love, and then we got to London, and it just felt like a good idea to cut it again. So my friend Taro, who was from Japan, who was in the program, cut it with kitchen scissors, inexpertly, and it was awesome, and it was ridiculous, right? And like 2 weeks later, I was trying to get my bangs to do something, and I was grumbling, and this roommate says, "Well, that's what you get for letting a Japanese boy cut your hair off." And I was like, oh, wow, so many apologies, right? Like wanting to put that on me, where I was like, my hair's awesome, thank you. And I really started to live that. And Karen helped me with that, because she also does what she calls no apology living. And that manifested in multiple ways. I have a friend who calls this the question mark transsexual picture. I really like that. So I'll just use one example. But my sort of idea of no apology living is to be conscious in your choices and make the best and most thoughtful choice with the information you have at the time. And that part's very key, because notice when we start to regret stuff later, it's often because we found out something else. Well, if I'd have known that, I never would have done that, right? No, you can't do that, because you made the choice with the information that you had at the time. Now, if it was your fault because you didn't go find out the information, that's one thing. But I'm more talking about in relationships where we don't know something and we find out later. So the example I always give is that in graduate school, I went platinum. I did it for a grad school, and everyone, when they find this out, they go, "Oh, how brave." I'm always like, really? Like, this is just not a big deal, right? Like, oh, I could never do that. Because then after that, for my birthday, I shaved my head. My mom shaved my head because she was sick of the blonde. And again, people are like, how did you do that? It's like, I just did it. It was awesome. And so that's like, a lot of times, these apologies don't have any real consequences. There aren't any real consequences for me shaving my head, other than the imaginary, someone might make fun of me, someone might think I look ugly. In reality, everyone thought I looked really cool, and it was awesome. So I want to break down apologies really quick, and how they're used inaccurately, I think. Apologies are often ways to control or weaken the self. This is especially true in women. I get to say that because I teach gender. If you want my source, come talk to me afterwards, and I'll hand you a bunch of literature. It's a way to sort of control who you are. So how many times have you done something that's totally you, and then you're like, sorry, for no reason, but we've been conditioned to do that. Yeah. Apologies are often excuses for not having to think about your actions. So I had this speech kid a few years ago. I will remain them nameless. And they would show up late, and they wouldn't do their work, or they would miss an appointment, and then they'd go, sorry. That doesn't make me feel any better. Thanks. Often used to not have to think about their choices. And then along with that, apologies are not often sincere. I think of the little kid, right, that hits you and then is like, sorry. You can't just say, I have a goddaughter and she's got 2 sisters and a brother, and they're in that stage right now. All of them are between 1 and 10, and Janine is like, their mother is like, they just rattle off sorry because they think it solves everything, right? And so for me, this is about control, right? This idea that you can control and be conscious of your choices, and then recognize when you can't control something. And you don't get to apologize for that either. When something happens that's out of your control or out of your choice-making ability, you don't get to do that. So that's the first step, is recognizing what's in your control. And so I yell a lot to my class and students and speech people, you're an adult, make your own choices, because they don't know that necessarily. And just teaching that is sort of the first, like, being in control of that is the first. I always tell the story about the student who would ask to go to the bathroom the first day of inquiry, or the first, like, weeks of inquiry. And, can I go to the bathroom? I think that's an excellent, I mean, you make your own choices with your body, you know? And finally, one day she came in and she said, can I, Miss O, I'm going to the bathroom. And, like, we all clapped. We're like, excellent. You're an adult who makes your own choices. And really, and I could wax prophetic for a long time about this, I won't, but I think a lot of times rules make us incapable of critically thinking about something. And so if I make a rule, you can't use your cell phone in my class, well then, I had a student last semester whose parent died, like, really? No, you have to make critical decisions about when you operate that phone and when you don't. And so then the goal is to not have to apologize. Right, to be in control, and so that you're conscious of your choices, and so that, and when something is out of your control, then you don't have to apologize. So I apply this in all parts of my life. I apply this in my work life. I applied this with my speech team. There are a lot of times where someone is upset with me because of something that is completely out of my control. Or I have to explain our choices as coaches. They don't often see the process behind that, the hours of sitting in our office and thinking about it. This applies in my personal life. This really applies in my personal life, for any of you who personally know me. I always joke that I just do whatever I want. And I think that's a little flippant. Lady Gaga has another version of that, and I think that ties really well back to the gospel reading for Mark. That's why I picked it, right? Jesus doesn't have any apologies. I mean, he is breaking the law, he is making an act on the Sabbath, and he's doing so in the temple, and he doesn't feel bad about it, because he knows what he's doing is the right choice. Many of you know, my dad passed away when I was 21. He had a brain tumor no one's ever had before. I don't have any regrets about this. There was nothing I could do about that, and I feel very good about the choices I made with him while he was alive. These get more interesting and harder as we go. That's my high school sweetheart. We dated for over 6 years. That's his wife in the middle. I was a bridesmaid in their wedding. And people often give me a really, like, what, right? Like, how could you do that? My new sort of addition to this talk, when I get like 45 minutes instead of 10, is the idea of systems of fear, and how we have these morals, but then these systems of fear come along and make us do things that don't align with our core beliefs. And my core belief was that I loved this person, and however that manifested, that was going to happen, and we made it happen. And these are dear friends of mine. They live in Detroit. They're hoping I get into graduate school near them. I'm hoping they have babies soon, but you know. I have no apologies about this relationship. Every time I see them, I wrap my arms around both of them. I'm so happy they're together. I'm so happy I didn't marry Josh. Woof. Living in Detroit with no master's degree, just not my thing. Yeah, so I have no apologies about this situation, and I love that they're in my life. This is a hard one, and I might tear up while I talk about this. This was I called her my female soulmate, and we were in each other's lives for about 11 years. And this woman doesn't speak to me anymore. She's doing something today, and hasn't spoken to me in over 2.5 years. And this is by far the hardest thing in my life that I struggle with. And I have to have no apologies about this, because I did everything I could to be loving and to be in that relationship at the time, and I have to know that that's out of my control. If you want to hear more about that, come to my office. I have a couch and candy. I'm a queer female who dates a man, and we live happily with 2 cats. I meant to put in a picture of the cats, and then I forgot. I am going to graduate school, and I let the dean know that and sort of resigned early, which apparently no one does, because what if you don't get a job and blah? That's the systems of fear thing. Even my mother was like, you can't do that. And I was like, I totally can, because they need to hire a speech coach, and it's going to be awesome. And then they still ask me to speak in chapel, and I still get to be around and help out. It's amazing. This is me on Mesem posing. This is a photo series of like 6 photos. And so this is me. This is my life. This is my no apology life. And so now I ask you, where in your life could you benefit from no apology living? Are you making good choices? Are you standing confidently behind them? Because usually people are making good choices, but then they go, I don't know if that's a good choice. That's my talk. Oh, and hum the song as I leave, right? About the best in life. Thanks, y'all. Have a beautiful day.
All right, the prayer of gratitude. As I go through my journey, I see and experience the world through the eyes of my inner spirit. As I feed my body, I give thanks for its nutritional benefits. As I drink pure water to nourish my body each day, I give thanks for its restorative power. As I breathe pure, fresh air each day, I give thanks for its invigorating power. As I rest each night, I give thanks for its revitalizing power. As I think creative thoughts each day, I give thanks for its manifesting power. As I feel positive emotions each day, I give thanks for their directive power. As I take positive actions each day, I give thanks for their creative power. As I manifest my life through the power of my thoughts, emotions, and actions, I give thanks. I am thankful for all the beautiful things I am going to experience. Today I choose to see the beauty in everything and everybody wherever I look. I am thankful for my beauty. I am thankful for the love around me. Today I choose to feel love in everything and for everybody wherever I look. I am thankful for being loved. I am thankful for the abundance of life. Today I choose to connect to abundance in everything and everybody wherever I look. I am thankful for abundance. I am thankful for the health I have. Today I choose to recognize health in everything and everybody wherever I look. I am thankful for health. I give thanks to my Creator for all that is in me and around me. I am thankful. And if you could join with me in saying the gratitude prayer to God. Dear God, thank you for having created me with such a powerful, loving care of me. Thank you for all the talents that you have given me. Thank you for showing me how to use them. Thank you for the people who have chosen me to share my life with. Thank you for the obstacles you have placed on my path as they lead me in the right direction. Thank you for the dreams that you have given me, because I know they will become true. Thank you for the hopes you have put in my heart, because I know they will manifest. Thank you for sending me knowledge, because I can share it with others. Thank you for all that I have, all that I have been, and all that I will be.
I invite you to stand for the blessing. God who creates light, God who is light, God who reveals light, bless you now and forever. Amen. Go in peace, share the good news.
Thanks be to God.